sign my paychecks, buddy, you ain't no mystic sage. Your signature ain't worth the ink, you leave it on the page. But you will not ignore me, I'll meet you in the morning. I think it's...
Alright, folks, well, welcome to lovely Gustavus, Alaska. I'm Nick Strait. I'm going to be your pilot today, and this is my trusty steed, November 572 Echo Foxtrot, who we affectionately just refer to as 2 Echo Fox. Anyway, I'm not going to explain too much about the plane right now. Beautiful 1976 Cessna 185. I've done a lot of work to him. It's got a turbo-normalized engine, all kinds of nice goodies and whatnot. So the main purpose of this is we're going to fly over to Wood Lake research station. It's about a 10-minute flight from here. It's kind of a remote outpost. We're just going to drop off some supplies, mostly snacks and things like that. So we've already loaded about 100 pounds worth of stuff that we stuffed in the cargo pack underneath. So that's kind of the main reason for flying today. But the other cool thing that we're going to do along the way is we're going to check out the lovely new electronic flight instruments from Garmin that I've got installed. This is the Garmin GI275. This is the EIS. This is the Engine Information System version. I've been flying with that in the cockpit for a couple of months now, and I love it. It's now pretty much indispensable. This one is new, though. This is the CDI HSI version of that instrument, and sorry, let me mute my comm radio. I don't need to listen to that right now. But it's a really cool multifunction NAV1, NAV2 GPS electronic HSI. It's touchscreen. It's pretty cool. I flew around with it a little bit yesterday, but I thought I'd really give it a go today, so you guys could see it and see what's going on. So anyway, let's go ahead and get underway. I just taxied us over here to the main terminal to get supplies loaded and whatnot. But let's go ahead and listen to the automated weather real quick.
735 Zulu. Wind calm. Visibility 6. In light rain. Sky condition ceiling 2,200. Broken. Temperature 3 Celsius. Dew point 3 Celsius. Altimeter 2938. Papa Alpha.
2938.
Automated weather observation 1735 Zulu. Wind calm. Visibility 6.
So that's good. So we're going to go ahead and use runway 29er since that's our main runway. And the wind is calm, so everyone should be using that runway right now, hopefully. Okay, so we're going to head on over to Wood Lake. So let's go ahead and put them in as our direct to Wood Lake, Glacier Bay, Alaska. I'm going to go ahead and activate that. Okay, so our direct to is going to be bearing 255. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to enter that ahead of time right now. So our course is going to be 255. So let's go ahead and this is all touch screen. This is really cool. 255, and let's go ahead and go into the menu here and select my bearing pointers. So you can select like auxiliary pointers to show up on here. So I'm going to have this particular symbol. I'm going to have that be for, it doesn't, it timed out. I don't really, I'm just going to set this one up for GPS because we're not going to be using nav1 or nav2. But, you know what? Let's go ahead and do that, just so you guys can kind of see how it works while we're up there. Okay, so let me go ahead and set this one to point to nav2. Okay, and then let's line up a couple of frequencies. So let's put nav2 on 114.00. Switch back to having that muted. Okay, so that's our nav2 radio. So nav2 will show up. I'm sure we're not getting anything yet because we're not in the air. Yeah. Okay. And then let's go ahead and find another. Let's find another VOR that's relatively close. Let me make sure I'm still streaming really quick. Yeah, I'm still streaming. I got kicked off a couple days ago, and it was very devastating. Okay, so 113.8. We'll go ahead and set that as nav1. So 113.8. All right, so we'll have a couple of different pointers that show up on there along the way. Let's see. We've got one viewer, which I know that means that it's just me that is the viewer. All right, so let's go ahead and go back out here. Let's look at terrain. So the weather is marginal VFR right now, which we do we do a lot of that up here. The weather is rarely ever perfect. So let's go ahead and just let's get going with no further ado. Okay, rotating beacon is on. Mixture's in full. Cowl flaps are open. Turn the avionics off for right now. Okay, so we should be good to go. I'm going to go ahead and put the throttle in about halfway. Alright, look for fuel flow, 7.4 gallons. Go ahead and turn that off, and then we're going to crack the throttle just a little bit, and we're going to go ahead and start the engine. After opening the window, so we can lean out the window and yell, clear prop. Now, of course, we started right up, just like we do every time, but it is cold, so we're going to close that window. We're also going to close the fresh air vents. All right. Turn the blinker off, turn the avionics back on. I'll wait for the alternator to recharge the battery a little bit more. I was sitting there for so long. We drained the battery down to 3 volts. Hey, Canadian Fox, how are you doing? Welcome to Gustavus, Alaska. We're gonna be just doing kind of a short flight here and looking at some new avionics that I've installed in my cockpit here. This is my plane, my main trusty steed up here in Alaska where I do my bush flying. This is 2 Echo Foxtrot. He's a beautiful 1976 Cessna 185. I don't know if you know a lot about planes, but it's one of my main passions. I actually used to fly for real. Now I fly sim, obviously. But yeah, I've been doing aviation-related stuff basically all my life. So anyway, I'm going to be talking about a whole bunch of stuff. Hopefully it's not completely boring. I'm going to turn my nav lights on, taxi lights on. I'm going to go ahead and preset my elevator trim. And there's no wind. I'm not going to use any flaps for takeoff. So let's go ahead and taxi on over there. So let's go ahead and redial traffic for jumping on my stream earlier. I figured I'd jump on yours. Okay, cool. Well, again, welcome. Alright, so let's see. Gustavus traffic, Cessna 2 Echo Foxtrot, taxiing runway 29er. Straight out departure. Alright, and 2 Echo Foxtrot is a conventional geared airplane, also known as a tail dragger, so the nose sits up in the air, so it's a little bit difficult to see over the nose, so you gotta kind of sit up in your seat every now and then to see where you're going. Alright, so let's head on over to runway 29er. So yeah, I love it up here in Glacier Bay, Alaska. It's beautiful country, and it's a bush pilot's dream. There's so much wilderness, so many off-airport places to land. So where we're flying to today is it's a place called Wood Lake Research Station. It's kind of on a little island, about 15 nautical miles from here. So it's a very short flight, but we're delivering some supplies, restocking them. It's kind of remote. They have a little grass strip. I've never asked them what it is that they actually research out there, but I know that I'm taking them snacks a couple of times a week. Snacks and other essentials. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and set the parking brake, and I'm going to do what's called the run-up, where we're actually going to I'm going to run the engine up to 1700 RPM. We're going to check the ignition system, and we're going to check the propeller control. So I'm going to go ahead and run the propeller up to 1700 RPM. Alright, there's 1700 RPM. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and check left mag, right mag, back to both. Everything looks good. I'm going to go ahead and pull the prop out, make sure we drop, and prop back up. Alright, I'll go ahead and close the throttle again. Pitot heat's on, because we're below 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Go ahead and turn the landing light on. Auxiliary fuel pump is on. I'm going to recheck that I've got my trim set. And I'm not going to use any flaps for this takeoff. Alright, so let's see. Gustavus traffic, Cessna 2 Echo Foxtrot is taking off. Runway 29er, straight out departure. Alright, so quick look, make sure there's nobody down there. Alright, we're going to go ahead and head on down the runway. This is called a back taxi, because the taxiway intercepts the runway in the middle instead of at the end. So we're going to head down to the departure end of the runway and then turn back around to take off. How does the stream look, Canadian Fox? Go ahead and turn my transponder on. I think it's possible Canadian Fox has left the building. Distracted by the dogs. I don't have dogs anymore, but I got a couple of distracting cats. I was just asking, how does the stream look? Does it look pretty smooth on your end? Alright, fuel pump is on. I'll go ahead and lock my tail wheel. Looks good. Hasn't dropped any frames that I can see. Cool. Alright, we're about to get loud because we're going to go to full throttle and start takeoff run. Here we go. Alright, tails up elevator, and we're off. Just like that. This plane gets off in no time flat. It's a 300 horsepower turbo normalized engine, which I programmed myself.
Sierra traffic, Airjet November 16506 11 miles southeast inbound visual, runway 29er.
Alright, so we're not going to climb too high because the cloud deck is pretty low. I'm going to go ahead and pull the prop back to 2,500 RPM. Okay, and mixture's going auto-rich. I'm going to level us off at 1,500 feet. Okay, I don't need to see over the nose anymore. Alright, there's 1,500 feet, so we're trimming down. Okay, I'm going to pull the throttle back for 75% cruise. Alright, so there we are. Alright, so I was kind of doing this as a review for other aviation nuts of some of the avionics that I've got in this plane. And specifically, I was going to take a look at the Garmin GI275 HSI right here. It's a completely electronic HSI. It's not what you would refer to as a steam gauge, which is the old-fashioned air and gyro-driven instruments. It still interfaces with the nav1 and the nav2 radio and my GPS receiver as well. So right now I have got it dialed in for the Wood Lake Research Station.
Sierra traffic, Learjet November 16506 is 5 miles southeast inbound visual, runway 29er.
But anyway, so this little arrow behind the green arrow right there, that points at whatever I have selected as my GPS destination. So I can just keep that centered on the HSI here, and it'll fly me right to where I want to go. But the nav1 page here, that works just like any CDI has localizer and glide slope, of course. If you tap CDI here, it'll actually switch over to nav2. It's got the DME distance and name of the station just right on there. That's localizer only, so it doesn't have a glide slope. So of course we're not going to use that for instrument landings. Tap CDI again. That takes us to our GPS page, which shows us our GPS course, and we've got a CDI for the GPS course as well. And then this shows us our waypoint name and distance to it. So that's really cool. So to adjust our heading bug, and this interfaces with my autopilot, you just tap on heading and then turn the dial, and that moves the heading bug around. You can see it swinging around right there. So the autopilot will track whatever heading that is. And then same for my course setting here. It works exactly the same way. That's pretty much all there is to this. It's a really easy to use unit. It's extremely intuitive. There's actually not a lot to say about it.
Alpha Golf Sierra traffic, Learjet November 16506 is 1 mile east inbound visual, runway 29er.
And then, of course, we have the EIS version of the Garmin GI275 down here, and this is the engine information system, which is awesome. It kind of replaces all of these gauges over here. So my manifold pressure, my RPM, oil temperature, my fuel gauges, oil pressure, fuel flow, CHT, all that stuff. Oh, speaking of CHT, I should close my cowl flaps. So it puts that all just on one easy to use, easy to read little unit down here. It's really quite glorious. I really like it.
Alpha Golf Sierra traffic, Learjet November 16506 is cleared of the runway.
All right, so we're going to duck into this little valley right here. And we're actually pretty close. If we look at the GPS, we're 5 minutes out. As we fly more, you guys will see more and more of the GI275s. This isn't going to be like a full review for them or anything like that, because there's a lot of stuff that we're doing right now that is not going to allow us to show all of the features. Oh yeah, this is Microsoft Flight Sim 2004. I've been using it for a long time. I've used other flight simulators for about the past 25 years or so, and even though this one is old, I feel like it was really designed for pilots. As someone who's flown for real quite a bit, I just feel like from an actual flying standpoint, this is extremely realistic. Like if you know how to fly a plane, you can pretty intuitively jump into this. But the other thing is I do a lot of my own programming of the aircraft as well. So all the flight dynamics, engine parameters, and stuff like that. I make it all as realistic as possible. Yeah, so all these gauges and things, I've installed a lot of them myself. And it's all based on real-world stuff. There's no fantasy here. This is how this stuff works. This is kind of tight getting in through here. But it's all right. I know what I'm doing. Yeah, it would be awesome. It would be very awesome. Do my GPS really quick. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and pop up over this ridge and start to get us lined up to land. All right, so where we're going, the Wood Lake Research Station, it has a very, very short grass runway. I'm gonna push the throttle up and actually pop up over this ridge. This is when it's really nice to have a turbo normalized engine. Turbo gives me maximum power as soon as I need it. It's on demand at just about any altitude, all the way up to, look over the nose here really quick, all the way up to 18,000 feet. Which of course we don't fly up there without oxygen, but okay, we're up high enough. Okay, so I can actually start the landing phase here now. Alright, so we're going to scooch right in between these things here. Okay, so I'm going to slow us down quite a bit because we're very close now. It's very hard to see. There's not much visibility right now. All right, but you can see the grass runway right ahead of us right now. So we like to sneak around this side of this mountain right here to get in, because it's this little hill right here is kind of in the way of final approach. So we're gonna kind of sneak around it in a descent to get down to the runway. But anyway, what I was saying was Wood Lake has a very, very small grass runway. But that is exactly what our trusty steed, 2 Echo Foxtrot, is built to do. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and open my cowl flaps again. Mixture's full rich. Alright, get up over the nose again. Put a little more power in. I'll start putting my landing flaps out. There's first notch. I'm going to disengage my tail wheel lock because I'm going to need to be able to steer once we're on the ground. Okay, second notch of flaps is out. Alright. We're down to 90 miles an hour. All right, third notch of flaps. And last notch of flaps is out. We're going to go ahead and stabilize the descent at 70 miles an hour. Alright, so we're going to trim up a bit. Okay, and I am not going to look at anything but the airspeed indicator anymore, and I'm just going to go ahead and feel it. So we're going to do what's called a short field landing. So we're going to get flying really slow, and luckily we're really light right now because it's just me and about 100 pounds of granola bars in the plane. Alright, there's 70. I'm going to hold right there. This is looking good. Alright, we're going to do a 3-point landing. As soon as we touch down, going to bring the flaps back up. Alright, flaps are up, and we're on the brakes. Elevator's back. It's rough and rocky. Alright, beautiful. That was a good landing. Welcome to Wood Lake Research Station. Alright, we are going to, 10 out of 10 for the landing, thank you. We're going to watch instant replay. I like to watch my landings and criticize them. Alright, so we're going to watch from the outside a couple of times first. Two Echo Foxtrot, you beautiful beast. Yeah, I feel like I held it off a little longer than I would have liked to, but that was your classic textbook 3-point landing. We're kicking up a bunch of dirt and whatnot. Alright, let's go ahead and watch from a fixed perspective now. So this airplane has got big fat, what are called Tundra tires on it. They're much larger and made of much softer rubber than normal tires. That makes it more suitable for landing on rocky terrain. And you can see right now I've got the landing flaps out. That increases the lift of the wing, so it allows me to fly slower and at a steeper angle. But since it increases lift, that also makes us more prone to bounce. So as soon as we touch down, I'm going to lift the flaps up. You're going to see the flaps will just disappear back up into the wing. And that'll keep us sucked into the ground. Yeah, so there they go. Beautiful. I'm very happy with that landing. Not a lot to criticize about it. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Lots of dirt getting thrown up. Okay. Whoops. So now we'll go back into real time, and let's go ahead and taxi on over. Taxi on over. I'll go ahead and shut off my aux fuel pump, my landing light. Cowl flaps are already open, so the engine's cooling off. See over the nose here. But yeah, it's amazing how well this has held up out over, almost 20 years. Is it the best looking flight simulator that's out there anymore? No. There are definitely better looking flight simulators out there. But I believe that this one is definitely, I believe that it's the one that feels the most real to me. I really feel like I'm flying an airplane. It doesn't feel like a video game. Pardon me. Oh, and the weather, by the way, is completely real. I use a weather generator that that inputs the current weather from wherever it is that you're flying direct into the simulator. So it's very realistic in that way as well. I'm just going to taxi over to the barn here. We'll offload our supplies and whatnot. And set the parking brake so we don't roll away. I'm going to mute my comm radio again because I don't need to talk to anybody over here. Turn my navs out, turn my taxi light off, turn my avionics switch off. Alright, we'll go ahead and shut the engine down. Turn the alternator and the battery off for right now. And we'll get out again and we'll take a look at our beautiful, beautiful airplane. And through trickery, I'm going to go in. I know you can't see what I'm doing right now because for some reason it doesn't pick this up. But I'm going to offload our 100 pounds of cargo. And just like that, magically it's offloaded. So the 185, the way that I've got it set up right now, it's got 5 seats in it. Let's actually climb in and look around the cockpit a little bit. So this co-pilot or passenger seat. Then we got a couple of seats back here. I can actually jump around into the other seats. Oh, you can't see them very well, can you? But this is the second row of seats, which have a nice view. And then right in the back here, this is a child's seat. I mean, I don't know that you could fit 2 adults back there. But technically it's a 6-seater craft, but it's more like a 4-seat and room for a kid. Because if we get into the back seat here, there's not a lot of leg room right here. But also the back of this seat folds down and gives you access to a cargo bay back there. But I like to leave it. Yeah, 4.5 people exactly. My favorite thing about this plane is the cargo pod under here, which you can carry up to 300 pounds worth of extra cargo under there.
Hybrid November 27166 miles southeast inbound visual runway 2.
I thought I muted you. Anyway, so you can put all kinds of goodies and stuff in there. And that way you don't have to carry stuff in the cabin, so you got more room for people. The drawback to using the big Tundra tires and having the cargo pack on there is it kind of wrecks the aerodynamic lines of the plane, so there's a lot of extra drag, so it doesn't fly quite as fast as it does stock. But again, with the turbo normalized engine, if I really want to go fast, I can get high enough that I can go faster than the plane stock. So, but we do a lot of low and slow flying around here, so you don't really need the extra speed, and the utility is more than makes up for the speed lost. So anyway, let's go ahead and we're gonna fly on back to Gustavus. So let me go ahead and input that as my new waypoint, Papa Alpha Golf Sierra. And we'll go ahead and activate that. So now the pink line is heading back to Gustavus. Our bearing is going to be 75 degrees, so I'm going to go ahead and change that on the GI275 here. So course is going to be 75 degrees. 075, and exactly back the way we came. And I'm going to set my heading bug for that as well. 075. Okay, good deal. so that's all set. Alright, so let's go ahead and fly back. Let's go ahead and turn the rotating beacon back on. We're doing a hot start, so I'm going to go ahead and open the throttle about halfway.
Traffic, Hybrid November 47 Jewel, runway 29er.
Okay, so I guess it doesn't matter which frequency I'm on, someone's going to be yapping. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and turn on the aux fuel pump, make sure we got fuel flow, and we do. I'm going to turn the aux fuel pump off, pull the throttle back out, and open it about half an inch or so. Okay, and we're good to go. So let me go ahead and open the window so I can yell clear prop. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close the window again because it's cold. Okay, I'll turn the alternator back on so we start charging the battery again. Turn my avionics back on. Nav lights, pitot heat, taxi light. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just put my transponder back into alt mode right now, just because I can. Okay, so let's go ahead and taxi back to the runway. Taxi back to the grass runway. Okay, so we're going to taxi around this way this time. Slowly, slower than that, tap the brakes, oh my god, slow down. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and re-verify my trim is set, and we are going to take off with 2 notches of flap this time. No, not that slow. Not that slow.
Papa Alpha Golf Sierra traffic, Hybrid November 47166 is 2 miles southeast inbound, visual, runway 29er.
Floor it, nah. We actually probably could, we could probably get off before we hit that second bank of trees. We're so light right now and this plane has so much power and lift. We could probably do it. But let's see what the wind is like. 333 at 4. Okay. I'm going to go up here and turn around and do a proper takeoff. And then we'll fly back to Gustavus. It's a very, very short, simple flight. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do, I think I might have already said this, I might be repeating it, but I'm going to say it again anyway. So we're going to do what's called a short field takeoff, because we don't have a long runway here. So we're going to generate as much lift as possible, and we're going to get off the ground as fast as possible.
Traffic, Hybrid November 47166 is clear of the runway.
And we're going to hold, as soon as we get off the ground, we're going to hold about 70 miles an hour. Between 65 and 74 miles an hour is the best angle of climb speed with flaps out. So that'll get us over these obstacles. There's going to be a bank of trees that we have to get over. And then we'll turn around and we'll get up over the mountains. But luckily, these are short mountains. These are not like the mountains that are actually surrounding Glacier Bay. The mountains that are surrounding Glacier Bay are legit mountains. I'm going to do this takeoff with the tail wheel unlocked, just in case I need some extra steering. Okay, gonna go ahead and close the throttle, and we'll just do a quick before takeoff. Look at everything. Props all the way in. Mixtures all the way in. Cowl flaps are open for engine cooling. Let's go ahead and turn on the aux fuel pump. Landing lights on. All my lights are on. Everything's good to go. We have 1 and 2 notches of flap out, and elevator trim is set for takeoff. And tail wheel lock is not engaged because I just explained that I'm not going to do that.
Traffic, Cessna, November 10312 is 11 miles southeast inbound.
Here we go. Okay, I'm going to go auto rich for best power. Okay, and we're not going to wait for the tail to come up. We're going to keep up elevator so that we can just bounce into the air as quickly as possible, just like that. And we are going to hold about 70 miles an hour, and we are climbing like a rocket. That's a much hairier, much faster takeoff than the one that we did back at Gustavus. That's kind of a white knuckle takeoff. Okay, we're clear of the trees. I'm gonna go ahead and drop the nose, gain a little bit of speed, and we'll take the flaps back out. Or back in, rather. Okay, and we're going to stabilize at 110 miles an hour. I'm going to bring the prop back to 2,500 RPM. Oh man, this thing climbs like a rocket when it's light. Okay, once we clear this mountain here, I'm going to go ahead and turn back towards Gustavus. Trim us for about 120 miles an hour for extra engine cooling, because we're having to stay at full throttle for a little bit longer than I'd like to, but that's how we get out of this canyon. I gotta stay out of this cloud. I'm gonna go ahead and level and turn. Let's come around the mountain this way.
Alpha Golf Sierra, traffic, Cessna, November 10312 is 7 miles southeast inbound visual, runway 29er.
Bush flying is not for the faint of heart. This isn't good. We don't want to be involved in clouds right now. Not this close to these mountains. So I'm going to go ahead and turn us out of here. And then I'm going to drop again. Just needed to clear that ridge right there. Okay. So let's go ahead and drop a bit. Whew. This is a lot of fun. Alright, so I'm going to take us down to about 1,500 feet again, and we'll level off there and go back to 75% cruise. Alright, coming up on 1,500 feet, and put the power back in. 15.6 gallons per hour, also known as 75% cruise at best power mixture. Okay, let's
Papa Alpha Golf Sierra, traffic, Cessna, November 103.
Turn the autopilot on.
Miles southeast, inbound visual, runway 29er.
And take another look at our beautiful mount. It's raining now. Bye-bye, and let's... Oh, that, by the way, that's me. That's my face. Oh, that's my face. I also painted this aircraft. This is very much my plane. Look at some other more interesting angles. I kind of like this angle. It's kind of... Turn the autopilot back off now that I'm back in the cockpit. It's a little disorienting to fly from this angle, but I think it's a cool GoPro type angle. If you look at videos on YouTube of people flying, this is a common angle. As is this one. This one's much easier to fly because I'm not looking at things at an angle. All right, so let's see. So we're making 155 miles an hour indicated. Shoot, my phone is going to die. I'm going to have to leave. We'll try to catch an extreme in the flight sim. It looks so much better than I thought. Cool. All right. Well, thanks, Canadian Fox. You're not missing much. We're just going to fly back to Gustavus and land. So you have a good night, and we'll see you later. Take care.
November Charlie, 3 miles southeast inbound visual, runway 29er.
Two viewers, it says. I don't know what that means.
Alpha Golf Sierra, traffic to Avalon, November 9er November Charlie, flying the missed approach.
Flying a missed approach at Gustavus, is that because no one is communicating and someone was taxiing back on the runway when you were trying to land? Like that has happened to me a million times here. That's what the radio's for, man.
Alpha Golf Sierra, traffic, Cessna, November 10312 is clear of the runway.
Hey, what's up, Ace? How you doing? How is this different than Microsoft Flight Sim? How is it different than the new one? This one is 16 years old. That's kind of the main difference. I've talked to some other actual pilot. I don't know, but I was an actual pilot for a while. I've flown a lot of airplanes, and it's always been a passion of mine. And I've been flight simming for 25 years or so as well. So I've got a lot of experience with these things, and I've talked to some other actual pilots, like some airline pilots that have been using the new Microsoft Flight Simulator. And even they say that it does not feel as real as Flight Sim 2004. It's like this was the last real definitive Microsoft Flight Simulator. This was made for pilots. This is not a toy. It's not a video game. And I do a lot of my own programming the flight dynamics and stuff like that. I get the actual technical manuals from the aircraft and things like that, and I actually go into the configuration files, and I sport tune all these things to fly like the real thing, so you can actually fly them by the numbers. So again, I have not personally used the new Flight Sim 2020. It looks amazing, don't get me wrong. It looks a million times better than this, because again, this has got 16-year-old graphics. But my impression of everything after Flight Sim 2004, and that's including Flight Sim X, they just kind of got video gamey. It didn't feel. Well, and the ones prior to this as well. The ones prior to this felt kind of video gamey as well. But this was like, when this one came on the scene, man, I just couldn't believe it. I got it as soon as it came out, and I've been using it ever since. I can't imagine using another sim as my primary actual simulator. It might be fun, to get the new Flight Sim and, use it just because, it looks all pretty and stuff. But, I don't know that it would satisfy me the way that this one does. This is very real. It's like I am flying a Cessna 185 right now with a turbo normalized engine. This is it. This is the thing. This is not just, I don't know. It's not just a game to me. Let's put it that way. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and, give me just a second. I got to listen to the automated weather here at Gustavus really quick.
Papa Alpha Golf Sierra automated weather observation 1826 Zulu. Wind 052 at 3. Visibility greater than 20 miles. Sky condition few clouds at 2,600 3,300 scattered. Ceiling 4,400 overcast. Temperature 3 Celsius. Dew point 3 Celsius. Altimeter 2935. Papa Alpha Golf Sierra automated weather observation.
Okay. Alright, and I'm going to listen to the radio for a while because I know what runway I want to use, but I just want to make sure that all the other traffic is using the correct runway. You want to, this is an uncontrolled airfield, so pilots have to communicate with each other to make sure that we don't run into one another. This is all AI traffic, by the way. This isn't online. This is not multiplayer. Taking lessons back in the 70s but never finished. Yeah, that's a common tale. That happens a lot. That's kind of what happened to me as well. Was I never fully got my my private pilot's license. My first job right out of high school was, you know what? Let's take a trip around this island here so I can talk a little bit more. Let's not land right away. Let's fly the long approach. But anyway, I was 18 and I was going to be an airline pilot. And 3 months after I got out of high school and was starting to look at aviation colleges, 9/11 happened. It was absolutely devastating. So I ended up not going to an aviation college, but my first job out of high school was working for a little FBO in Vacaville, California at Nuttree Airport. And I did my flight training there. So I got quite a ways into the private pilot program, but I spent a lot of time flying with friends that had planes. They weren't CFIs, so unfortunately I didn't get to log a lot of that time. But I got the opportunity to fly a lot of cool stuff. I really cherish the memories of working there. But anyway, you know, so it wasn't an accredited college or anything like that, so I ended up not being able to finance the rest of my training, so I just stopped. I just stopped, and it makes me sad, but I learned a lot. I met a lot of cool people. I flew a lot of awesome airplanes. I got a lot of experience, you know, that I probably wouldn't have gotten if I went to, like, you know, Embry-Riddle or ATP or something like that. You know, because interspersed during my flight training, you know, I was working there. I was working there as a flight scheduler at the flight school there. So my friends all had airplanes, you know, so after work, you know, my friends would just come by and say, hey, you want to go fly here? Hey, you want to go fly there? I'll let you fly. And it was a lot of fun. Aeronautics in a Cypress, California community college and had the same plans. Okay, yeah, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So anyway, here I am, you know, 20 years later, a wealth of aviation knowledge and obsessed with airplanes. And, you know, I would love to go back and do it for real again, but, you know, I'm also quite happy being able to fly whatever I want in my flight sim. It really makes me feel, good. It makes me feel connected to myself. I feel like my roots are in airplanes. My grandfather was a pilot in World War II through Vietnam. Oh yeah, the influx of Vietnam pilots hitting the streets. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was a major. Yeah, they got a lot of ex-Army and Air Force pilots. A large influx of them at that time, like you say. So yeah, that totally would have affected your plans. But my grandfather is the one who got me hooked on airplanes.
Traffic to Atlas, November, Niner, 39er, November, Charlie, 11 miles southeast inbound visual, runway 29er.
Okay, so we are using runway 29er, so give me just a second here. And we're going to use runway 29er. My GPS here. Alright. Gustavus traffic, Cessna 2 Echo Foxtrot is 7 nautical miles to the east. Inbound to land, runway 29er, full stop. You'll see what a dork I am. I even do the radio calls. What airport is this again? This is Gustavus. This is the gateway to Glacier Bay. It's just west of Juneau. Like Juneau is right over those mountains ahead of us, basically. This is the amazing Glacier Bay scenery by Holger Sandman. He is one of the most iconic scenery designers for FS 2004. This is one of his amazing terrain meshes. And just super high detail terrain and airports. The default airports are generally not this. Oh, you've actually been there. I've spent a lot of time in Gustavus, but it's all been virtual. I've never been there for real. That's really cool. So you know what I'm talking about. All right, so we're just lollygagging in here. I'm not flying the pattern. I was about to fly the pattern, but oh.
Traffic to Havilland, November, Niner 39er, November, Charlie, is 7 miles southeast inbound visual, runway 29er.
Okay, that's someone coming in right where we're coming in. I think it's that guy right there. I'm actually going to go ahead and stay out of his way. I will just fly over the runway at 1,000 feet and
Traffic, Douglas, November,
just fly a circuit.
1 miles southeast inbound visual, runway 29er.
I'll just fly a regular circuit. Yeah, see, we got a de Havilland -7 ahead of us. Are there any bush options with this software? That's actually what I'm flying right now. This is the Cessna 185 you know, I'm just going to fly right over the runway. Let me turn the autopilot on really quick. And these avionics are all real, by the way, as well. I don't play around with fantasy gauges. These are all actual simulations of the real thing. Anyway, this is 2 Echo Foxtrot. This is my best friend. That's actually that's even me in the cockpit. I do my own painting as well. That's my face. I'm in the cockpit. So anyway, this has got 29-inch Goodyear Tundra tires on it. It's got the cargo pack as well. So yeah, it is a, I'll turn the autopilot back off. Loud beep, sorry. But anyway, so yeah, this is outfitted.
November, Niner 39er, November, Charlie, is 3 miles southeast inbound visual, runway 29er.
Chatter. This is outfitted for bush operations, absolutely. It's got the cold weather package with the oil dilute and everything. And like I said before, this is the turbo normalized engine that's in here. So it's the IO520. It's the stock IO520. But there are companies that will.
Douglas, November,
sorry.
54514 miles southeast inbound visual, runway 29er.
There are companies that will actually fit it with a turbo normalizer. That's not a turbocharger. It's a turbo that just maintains sea level.
Sierra traffic. Cessna November 51440 is 10 miles southeast inbound visual, runway 29er.
It's 9:30 in the morning. All the flights are coming in right now, so everybody's talking. But anyway, so it's turbo normalized. It'll hold manifold pressure, sea level manifold pressure, all the way up to 18,000 feet. So this is actually, even though we have a lot of extra drag from having the Tundras on it and the cargo pack, like I'm talking about, like we lose about 12 miles an hour at 75% cruise. And I say miles an hour in the 185 because that's what our main airspeed indicator is calibrated at. So it's, you know, like 9 or 10 knots we lose. But having the turbo normalizer kind of makes up for it because we can get really high and we can, you know, maintain manifold pressure. So if we're actually, we can fly up to like 20,000 feet with oxygen, wide open throttle at 2,500 RPM, and I'll make over 170 knots true airspeed in this, which is significantly faster than the stock 185. But again, it would be even faster up at that altitude if I didn't have the Tundras and the cargo pack on it. But I see those are essential. Those are essential for operating up here, so I don't even complain about the speed loss. Okay, so we just overflew the runway. I'll go ahead and say, this Davis traffic, Cessna 2 Echo Foxtrot is on upwind to runway 29er. Full stop landing.
Let me go ahead and actually, this is my... Sierra, traffic, Douglas,
One of my
November
lovely little new
545,
toys.
12 miles southeast, inbound, visual, runway 29er.
This is brand new from Garmin. This year, these actually came out. The
Alpha Golf Sierra, traffic, Atlas, November, Niner 3, Niner, November, Charlie, is clear of the runway.
the GI275s, they're electronic flight information displays.
November 51440 is 6 miles southeast inbound, visual, runway 29er.
I like steam gauges, you know, the old-fashioned ones, especially in this aircraft. You know, if I'm flying like my Bonanza or something like that, you know, I like to have, you know, glass cockpit type stuff. But doing this kind of flying, you know, it's more rugged to have the steam gauges. But these things I have found are indispensable. It is so nice to have all of my engine parameters, just one look. I can look at one dial and I've got everything right at the same time. And this is awesome. It's a completely glass CDI HSI, which is linked to my Nav1, Nav2, and my GPS receiver. So it's a wonderful all-around navigation tool. It's like a virtual HSI. It's touchscreen. It's wow. It's, you know, it's new technology. Okay. Gustavus traffic, Cessna 2 Echo Foxtrot is turning crosswind, runway 29er, full stop. Yeah, I don't know if you just saw the first part of this flight, but we went up into the mountains into Wood Lake Research Station, just right out that way on that little peninsula right there.
Traffic, Douglas, November 545,
And
8 miles southeast, inbound, visual, runway 29er.
And we did a real bush landing. Well, not a real bush landing because it's kind of a prepared strip. But it was more bush than this landing's going to be. This is going to be very, very plush and cushy compared to what we just did.
Papa Alpha Golf Sierra, traffic, Cessna November 51440 is 4 miles southeast inbound, visual, runway 29er.
Gustavus traffic, Cessna 2 Echo Foxtrot is on downwind, runway 29er, full stop. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and give us about 15 inches of manifold pressure. I'm going to slow down to about 110 miles an hour. Just going to kind of be our initial pattern speed. Put in a little bit of trim because we're descending a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of do my gumps now. So gas, auxiliary fuel pump, undercarriage. I don't actually have undercarriage, so I'm just going to make sure my cowl flaps are open so we don't overheat the engine. Mixture, we're going to go ahead and go full wrench, and we're going to go full forward on the prop. Gumps is complete. So I don't have to think about it when we're on final. Boy, I flew a long upwind, huh? I'm gonna nuzzle us in a little closer to the runway here, because this thing turns pretty tight when we're at the stupidly slow speeds that this thing can fly at.
Alpha Golf Sierra, traffic, Cessna November 51440 is flying a missed approach.
Yeah, that's what I was doing the other.
Sierra, traffic, Douglas, November 54514 is 5 miles southeast, inbound, visual, runway 29er.
Oh, hey, there's the DC-3s coming in. I think we're going to be right behind the DC-3. That's cool. I'm going to extend my downwind here. Gustavus traffic, Cessna 2 Echo Foxtrot is extending downwind for the Douglas on final. Now, unfortunately, since they're AI, he's not going to thank me. He's not going to thank me for extending my downwind for him, but I'm going to pretend he did. There's actually a lot of traffic at this airport. This is, well, you know, as you know, it's the gateway to Glacier Bay. You know, you fly into Juneau and you hop over the mountains, you know, if you're going to be playing in Glacier Bay. So there's actually quite a bit of traffic. Alaska Airlines actually flies in here. They can get the 737 7s in here, the 700 series of the next gens. We don't talk about the Max. I'm a massive Boeing fan, but we don't talk about the Max. I got a lot of angry things to say about that, so we don't talk about the Max. The next gens were the perfect airplane, and they never should have tried to improve them.
Papa Alpha Golf Sierra, traffic Douglas, November 54514 is 2 miles southeast, inbound, visual, runway 29er.
Yeah, I've flown out of the sim version of Long Beach, and yeah, it is definitely hairy. But I do a lot of airline simulation as well, so I do a lot of like hardcore IFR procedures and stuff like that. And as long as you're flying, you know, like a standard departure or arrival, it's not too bad. But when you're flying something that flies low and slow like this, it is nerve-wracking because you know you got all those airliners that want to come in, and everybody's mad that your slow little Cessna, you know, has to fly 70 knots on final and is slowing everybody up. So I know what you're talking about. I understand, my friend. I understand. Gustavus traffic 2 Echo Foxtrot is turning base, runway 29er, full stop. Yeah, exactly. It's like I've only been driving the car for 2 years. Now you want me to control a marvel of physics through three-dimensional space, darting around.
Papa Alpha Golf Sierra, traffic Douglas, November 54514 is clear of the runway.
Darting around marvels of physics that are much bigger and much more powerful than I am. Yeah, it is definitely hairy. I remember flying through the Bravo airspace at San Francisco several times, and that was hairy. Like, I had a controller, you know, tell me, you know, you got traffic at 2 o'clock, and I look out, it's a 737! It's like, oh my God, there is indeed traffic at 2 o'clock, and it's much bigger and much more powerful than me. Okay. Gustavus traffic, Cessna 2 Echo Foxtrot is on final, 29er, full stop. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and sit up.
Golf Sierra, traffic, Mooney, November 30136, taking off, runway 29er, east departure.
Okay, I gotta really slow down because they have to taxi back. So she just said that she's taken off 29er, so that means she's halfway down the runway right now, and she has to taxi back because the taxiways don't go to the end of the runway, so she has to taxi back for takeoff. This is one of the #1 causes of go-arounds here at Gustavus. Tail wheel lock is not engaged. Gumps is already complete. I may have to go around. God, I don't want to go around. Go ahead and pull the power out even more. Nah, she's not gonna make it before I get there. She's not gonna make it before I get there. I can see her on the runway. Alright, well, if you're going to do a go-around, this is the way to do it. Instead of at the last minute. This Davis traffic, Cessna 2 Echo Foxtrot is going around runway 29er. Pull the flaps back up, and we'll level off at 1,000 feet, and we're going to fly a much shorter approach this time. And yeah, I see it. I know I'm getting the RPM warning. That's one of the limitations of the IO250. This particular version of it is it runs just a little too fast. Okay, but once I pull the manifold pressure back, the RPM will come back down. Once I'm not supplying enough manifold pressure to you know what I'm trying to say. Concentrating.
Taking off runway 29er. Departure to the east.
Davis traffic, Cessna 2 Echo Foxtrot is upwind, runway 29er. Full stop. Alright, let's get 15 inches again. Okay, this is all the upwind that I am doing. I am going to go ahead and turn base right now. Davis traffic, 2 Echo Foxtrot, turning base, runway 29er, full stop. I don't need to see over the nose anymore. Okay, we are officially on base. Luckily the winds aren't bad. When I was flying here the other night, the turbulence was terrible. I mean, the winds were just absolutely terrible. This is actual weather, by the way. I use a weather generator that actually imports data from the most current METAR from wherever you're flying, and it plops it on into the simulator. Davis traffic, Cessna 2 Echo Foxtrot, turning downwind, runway 29er. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself, Ace. Not too many people understand the immense pleasure of operating in all three dimensions with as much realism as possible. I do not want to go around again. Yeah, the other night when I was flying the pattern here, I just wanted to fly the pattern before bed a couple of times. The wind was horrible, and we had this situation where there were 3 or 4 planes stacked up. I had to go around 3 times, and each time was hairier than the last because of all the bumps. It was terrible. The airspeed needle was going all over the place. So I had to fly like a 90-mile-an-hour wheel landing with no flaps. Actually, that's not true. I think I had flaps, like flaps 30, not flaps 40, and I flew probably like an 80-mile-an-hour wheel landing. Still, more than I would have liked. Boy. All right. Yeah, ram it down. Yeah. Gustavus traffic to Echo Foxtrot is turning base, runway 29er. Alright, I'm already gumped. So I am going to do a very abrupt pattern in quotation marks here. Let's go ahead and get up the first notch of flaps. 100 miles an hour. This is just going to be a very... I got 2 white lights, so I'm a little high still. But that's okay, because we'll get going slower. Okay, flaps 2. That's 20 degrees. We got 90 miles an hour.
Golf Sierra traffic. Cessna November 51440 is 9 miles southeast inbound. Visual. Runway 29er.
Alright, and I'm going to trim us up to hold about 80 miles an hour. There's glide slope. We got the red over white. You're alright. Put a little bit more power in, and I'm going to go flaps 3, and we are going to do a wheel landing, because I know I got someone else coming in to land, so I'm going to go just a little bit faster. I'm not great at wheel landings in this plane, you know, because I'm usually doing short field, so, I mean, I'm definitely competent at wheel landings, but, you know, when you're out there in the bush, it's all about the 3-point. And this thing's actually very easy to 3-point. I think it's easier to 3-point than it is to wheel land. Alright, put a little more manifold pressure back in, and that wasn't my best turn ever. My best turn to final. Gustavus traffic to Echo Foxtrot is on final, runway 29er, full stop. Arrest our descent here a little bit. Alright, I'm going to leave flaps where they are. Pull the power out, we're back on glide slope, let's hold 80 miles an hour. I'm doing a wheel landing in this plane. We're not going to stall it onto the runway. We're actually going to fly it down to our touchdown point on the mains. Which again, I need the practice. I may bounce a couple of times, but if you talk to real 185 pilots, they say, you know what, no harm, no foul. In the 185, you usually bounce when you do a wheel landing. It doesn't like to wheel land. It's not into it. Alright. Okay, pull the power out all the way. Fly it down. There's one bounce. Okay, just one bounce. That's good. I'm going to go ahead and pull the flaps out to drop the tail. Come look up over this. And stand on the brakes with the elevator all the way back. Okay, and before we clear the runway, we are going, just because of vanity, I know you can't see what I'm doing right now, but I'm initiating a 1-minute instant replay. I like to watch my landings a couple of times so I can criticize them. Alright, so first we'll watch it in flyby mode. And you can see how the elevator is, you know, how it looks like the elevator is pulled way up. That's because the 185 does not have trim tabs. The entire stabilizer actually moves when you move the trim wheel. So the stabilizer itself moves, but you still have elevator authority. It's extremely efficient. It makes the trim extremely efficient. One little hop. You know what? I'm barely even going to consider that a bounce. Well, it's a bounce. It is a bounce. That was a bounce. Just one, though. Just one. Okay, let's go ahead and watch it from a fixed perspective now. 2 Echo Foxtrot, you beautiful beast. But anyway, the 185 is one of the few light aircraft that can actually, it can lift more than it weighs. So its center of gravity is widely variable. So having the entire stabilizer move for trim is kind of essential. It makes it much, makes your elevator trim much more effective. One little bounce. Yeah, it was just one. Get those flaps up, tail drops, tail wheel contact, and we're slowing down. I'm happy. I'm happy with that. I think that was a good wheel landing. I'm gonna watch it one more time. I just love looking at this airplane. Yeah, absolutely, Ace. Stop by any time. You know, I do the music and, oh, what year is this 185? 1976. 1976. It's just 9 years before they stopped making them. They stopped making them in, ironically, 1985. They stopped making the 185. 76 was the last year that the 185 was like, you know, the rugged outsider of the Cessna lineup. You know, it had, you know, you look at the gauges and they're not in six-pack formation like we're looking, you know, like we're used to looking at now. They're just, you know, they're wherever the heck they want to be. You know, that's before they, 1977 and on, they standardized it, and then the plane actually got, it got some aerodynamic refinements that allowed you to drop the flaps a little bit faster. You could actually drop them at 120 knots or like 140 miles an hour instead of 110, which I can definitely see the value in that, but again, there's something magical about the 1976 for me. It was a good year for the 185. Let me hop back in the cockpit, and let's actually go ahead and let's finish slowing down, and let's turn around. Let's turn around. See, we got planes stacked up. I'm gonna try to get off the runway, guys. I'm gonna try to get off the runway. There's only one way on and one way off of this runway. It is a little annoying, I'm not gonna lie. Got to fly Taylor craft with tandem seats. Yeah, absolutely. Those are good airplanes. Those are good bush planes too. Anything of the Cub or the Super Cub persuasion. Which, I mean, definitely when it comes to actual operability in this type of environment, the Piper Super Cub is the gold standard. I mean, you absolutely cannot get a plane that can get in or out of tighter spaces than that. The 185, though, is still best bang for your buck because there is nothing that can haul this much stuff this fast and get in and out of the places that this can get in and out of.
Traffic, Cessna, November 36888, 8 miles southeast and down visual, runway 2.
Because lightweight like this, you know, with just me in the airplane and basically, you know, about 100 pounds worth of survival gear. You know, I'm on the ground now. I'm gonna mute my comm. What was I saying? About 100 pounds of survival gear, you know, like tent and stuff like that, and camp stove, things like that. I like to keep those in the plane. I can get off the ground in most places in under 300 feet. When I'm fully loaded, I can get off the ground in 700 feet. I mean, still, that's amazing. You know, I can be off the ground in 700 feet with this thing fully loaded. I have the long-range fuel tanks on this plane, and then also 12.5 gallon bladders in each of the tips of the wings, so I actually carry over 100 gallons of fuel in this thing when the standard 185 stock came with 66 gallons fuel capacity. So this thing is incredibly heavy when it's fully loaded, and I can get it in and out of just about anywhere a Piper Cub can. I've not had a whole lot of problem with, look, my hangar door is already open. I've not had a lot of trouble getting in and out of any place with this plane. It's extremely versatile. But, you know, if you got a really long runway and you do have jets behind you, all you gotta do is, I'm not gonna pull this into the, I'm not gonna pull it into the hangar, just yet. Shut the engine and we'll use, we'll roll it in. Set the parking brake. Make sure everything is set and ready to go. Cowl flaps are still open. Go ahead and set my transponder back to standby. Switch my avionics off because I don't need them. Turn my pitot heat off because I'm not flying anymore. Turn my navs off. Turn my taxis off. Turn my landing off. Everything's off that needs... Oh, let me turn my dome light out too. I don't need that anymore. Mixture pulled. Alright, we'll go ahead and turn the mags off, turn the alternator, the battery off. Probably should have turned the fuel pump off first, but okay, so we're powering down now. So anyway, let's get back outside. But yeah, so like I said, this thing is not going to get off the ground in 100 feet or less, like a lightly loaded Super Cub can, but it's just great. I can't say enough good things about the 185 or justify it anymore, because it is what it is. It does what it does, and I can't imagine a better plane for the type of flying that I do. And like I said, with the turbo normalizer, I can get up really high. We put oxygen on. I can run with the throttle wide open with my mixture lean of peak, and I can go really fast. You know, I can get 170 knots out of this thing, burning 15 gallons an hour, something like that. And with the extended range of those fuel tanks, I've got. If I come back to like 45% power at that altitude, I can fly 1,400 miles in this plane. You can go anywhere with it. You can get over just about any mountain with it, and it's comfortable. It's reasonably fast, and again, you don't have to worry about landing. You don't have to look ahead of time to make sure that the airport you're going to has a runway that's long enough, because there's no runway too short for this airplane. So anyway, yeah, thanks for joining me, Ace. It's been nice to have another aviation buff to share this with, and I'm glad that you enjoyed the music earlier too. I was in a very, very laid back mood, and I think that this was the perfect laid back flight to end the night with. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream now. and we will see you. We'll see you later. To anybody that might be watching this later, or anybody who is watching now that's just not involved in the chat, my name's Nick Straight. I'm an aviation nut. I'm mostly a musician, though. And my channel here on Twitch is devoted to both. Later, Ace. Take care, my friend. My channel here is devoted to gaming, airplanes, and music. Still trying to figure out how to put all those things together into some kind of cohesive grand vision. But anyway, if you liked what you saw here, make sure you follow me on Twitch. Take a look at more of the videos that I have on Twitch. Follow my link in my profile to my YouTube page. Subscribe to me on YouTube. As we all know, Twitch doesn't hold videos forever, so you can watch my videos forever because I export them to YouTube as soon as I'm done streaming them. So follow me over to YouTube, subscribe to me there, make sure you hit the bell so that you're notified when I've uploaded something. Also, my wife streams with me on this channel as well. We play Minecraft and other stuff together. There's a link to her website in my profile and her Etsy shop, so make sure you check her out. She's an amazing multimedia artist, and we're so glad that we found the Twitch community, and we are both so glad for the friends that we're making here. So anyway, again, I know I'm long-winded, but I just want to say I love you all. Good night, be safe, and we'll see you next time.
Attention all you high-class social climbers, please.